Hello, everybody. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast. And this is your podcast for the week ahead, the week of January 17th. Just to say very clearly that we are not where we were. So, 2024, that energy, that eight energy, it really was a moment of integration. The eight energy is always an invitation back into you, back into the ways that you are out of integrity, back into the ways that you are disconnected from your power, back into the ways that you give your power away, back into the ways that you kind of collude with your own, mm, not weaknesses, but back into the ways that you collude with your own powerlessness. So, this question of power is so important in an 8 year, and this question of integration is so important in an 8 year. And so, the pacing, the movement in the 8 year was to come back in, to come back in, to get stronger, to become more empowered, to become more integrated, to become more plugged in to our bodies and to the world and to our even to our spirituality and to our sense of what we're here to do. The 9 year brings us to the apex. It says, like, we heard you, the earth, the world, your soul, your higher self. It heard you in the 8 year, and it knows what you yearn for. Like, it knows what your heart calls for, and it wants to co create that with you. And so, in the 9 year, we call it the year of completion because it is. It's a year where things fall away that are not meant to travel with you, things that have no movement of their own, they have no like sense of collaboration with where you're going, will go follow their own path or they'll fall away. You can see collectively and individually the pacing of 2025 is very different. Things are moving fast, they're happening quickly, individually, collectively, culturally. And the important thing that came up last week with that 7 of Cups was you might know what you want, like you might know what you long for. You don't always know how to get it. So you might have the sense of, I want this, I need this, but sometimes we don't actually know how to get those needs met. So we feel this thing is wrong, this thing is off, this thing is out of alignment. We have a sense that there is another way of being, that there is someplace we want to move towards. We don't always understand how we'll get from A to B. And that 7 energy was with us last week. And it was a reminder that you don't have to really know how to get there to know that that's where you're headed. And the 7 is the reminder of the mystery. Like, don't forget the mystery. The best things in your life, the things that have changed your direction or been your most important memories, are rarely, rarely, rarely the things you see coming. They're rarely, rarely the things that you planned for. You might have this wish of, I wanted this, and then be really surprised at how that shows up, about how the world changes shape around you to collude with that, to allow that, to prepare you for that. I say that to you because we have another 7 this week. We have the 7 of Wands, and that's about our life force, our vitality, our sexuality, our creativity, our instincts, our inspiration. And it's still in the sevens. So we're still in this mysterious place. And the 7 of Wands often has to do with creating space for your own evolution. It's a card very much associated with boundaries. So the 7 of Wands, I'll show it to you here. There's always a question of what's happening. Again, as you'll hear me say, always with the 7 cards, what's even happening in the card is a little bit mysterious. And it's part of the engagement with the sevens is to allow the fact that we don't know, is to allow the fact that we don't need to be the solver of all the things. And it's something for you just to notice this week. It's just something for you to kind of become aware of, especially when you are feeling activated or worried or anxious or unsure or afraid. But even when you're just busy, to not have to fill every space, like to not have to have a solution, not have to have language, to not even have to have your presence. Like, you don't need to fill every empty space. It's okay not to know. It's okay to be curious and witness in the places you don't know. The 7 wants us to really get this message that we can want something and not be the maker of the thing. So we can want to become something, evolve into something, and not be the one that has to do everything alone. The 7 invites in the mystery. It invites in the sense of what wants to be born, what wants to become, what wants to arrive. And you are often like part of that, and you can be a shepherd of that, and you can be a colluder in that, but you're not the sole creator of that. If you imagine even the things that you want, even the things that you long for, even the inspiration you have, it's yours and it's not. Like your desire to become, to move towards, to evolve, to like open to a new dimension of yourself is both your calling and it's the calling of source. Like it wants to become through you. It wants to create through you. It wants to make art through you. It wants to reveal love through you. And the 7 wants you to really like, it kind of like wants to slap you around a little bit of like, just relax, like, just allow there to be a fallow space, allow there to be the "I don't know," allow there to be the wonder, allow there to be the curiosity. There's this sense right now, like, just notice this actually happening, so pick something you're curious about or something you're interested in the world, and watch how there is no solution to it that you can maybe understand or offer, and yet it is being solved. So can you like feel the difference there? Something is becoming, it's solving itself, it's finding its rhythm and harmony without you being the only one capable of solving it. So there's something about this sense of can you be more curious about wherever your instinct is to be sure. So can you relax into the I don't know a little bit as a almost as a prayer, like as a prayer of I don't know and I'm okay with that. I don't know and I trust. I don't know and yet I wonder. I don't know and yet I have awe for all the ways I haven't known before and it's been okay. I haven't known before and it's found its way. Like, you don't really want to be in charge. Like, it robs you of the human experience to know everything. Like, there's something about the unknowable, there's something about the things that want to come that so much of the beauty of life is the witnessing of and the experience experiencing of the mystery. So, I say that too because the 7 of Cups there was a lot of energy around what you think you want. There was a lot of energy around what you've been told you should want. There was a lot of energy around being still being called towards something. Like, there's a lot of noise, but I'm sure about this one thing. And there's the sense of the siren song, like, what are the things trying to pull you off course? And I say that with a lot of grace because things can pull you off course and that can be just what needs to happen. And things can pull you off course and that can be, you know, better. And so being pulled off course is a neutral idea. And then the question is whether it's something that works for you in that moment, whether it's something that serves you, whether it's something that you need to experience to remind yourself that you don't want to be pulled off course or something you need to experience because the detour is the point or the detour is the important moment that needs to happen here. So we're taking that 7 of cups and we're moving it into the 7 of wands. And I have a feeling, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I have some memory that we had back-to-back 7s at the end of last year. Maybe you go back and listen to those podcasts or look at those podcasts. It's the same energy, so it's 7s, but it was vibrating in the weather, in the atmosphere of 2024. It's very different. And really what came through when I pulled this card immediately was like protect yourself and not necessarily physically, although maybe that's important, more energetically, like protect the temple of your curiosity, the temple of your wonder, and the practice you've cultivated that says to you that you're safe, that says to you that you're okay, that it's okay, whatever that practice looks like for you, the practice that allows you to step back and notice the narratives and the stories without being consumed by the narratives and the stories. And there's a sense of this more sophisticated sense of your boundary work. So boundary work can feel like, well, I told this person I don't want to have a relationship with them, or I told this person this is a boundary or a hard line for me. But boundary work can also happen on kind of the subtle realms. So what are you allowing into your space? What art are you consuming? What social media are you consuming? How much are you engaged with nature? What kind of conversations are you allowing? If people are gossiping or talking about things that feel kind of low vibe, are you contributing to that? Are you like playing in that arena? There's this sense of the rules of the game, and there's this sense of what game are you playing, and there's this sense of do the rules still apply? And there's a sense of do the rules still work for you? There's something about kind of the system and what role you're playing in it and what you're allowing into your space. I really want to drive home that last year was such an important discovery around your power and your authority. And that seems to be up here, like the reminder, ringing the bell of you do have so much more power than you realize. You do have so much more authority and maybe you've stepped into fullness around that in a way that you never have before. There's something about this idea of what's the image I have, you have this kind of walled garden that you've created, this like safe space you've created, this temple that you've created. And what are the small things kind of getting under the wall or getting through the cracks? Like what are the things that are kind of infiltrating that space on this more subtle realm? So it really is like the communication, the language, the feelings, the fears, the anxiety, being really mm, intentional about what you allow into your space this week and noticing messages you have about whether that's okay. Like noticing messages you have around your safe space, your sacred space, and what is allowed there with you. There's something here that needs to work itself out. And that might mean, it probably does mean, individually on a larger scale in your community, in the world, there's something that needs to work itself out. And it requires space to do so. So think about that really kind of metaphorically or like in a dream way. There's something that wants to work itself out and it requires space to do so. So I want you just to think about where you're rushing in, where other things are rushing in, where things are kind of trying to fill the space. And it's your responsibility, your invitation this week to shepherd, protect, define the space and to trust the thing that's working itself out, whether that's you and your heart and your inspiration and your creativity and your passion, or whether that's something that's kind of popping off in the world. But this just feels like a really clear message and a really important one. And there's just this sense of like protecting the space in you, around you, for the mystery. It's an interesting idea, right? Like, what is your responsibility when it comes to protecting the mystery in your own life and in the world? It's an interesting idea, but it's important right now. And it's funny to talk about it because it's something that, again, like Stephens defy explanation, or they defy definition. And yet they're, I can hear them kind of calling to you and to me to respect what's happening. And so, how do you respect the mystery? How do you trust something wants to work itself out? It requires space to do so. And part involved in that is a respect for the mystery. Kind of an interesting message to come through, but I will offer it to you and trust you to receive it just as you need to. The only other thing I'll offer is that you have a right to advocate for yourself this week. There's something about speaking up, about your voice, about the fierceness of saying, not necessarily no, but more along the lines of like, hear me. I need to be heard in this. there's something about that that is present here with us. And so invite that for yourself that you deserve to be heard, but maybe consider places where where you don't think other people are deserved to be heard or you don't allow other people's voices to be heard. And you're balancing that with the distinction of what is what is allowed in this safe space, what is like helpful in this safe space, what is contributing or respectful of the mystery in this space, and what is not. So that's a balancing act, right? Like your voice, the voices deserve to be heard. And I'm getting really sensitive about what I'm allowing into my empty spaces. I hope that's helpful for you. I want to say that we are going to have a workshop on the 25th of January. It's gonna be a 3-hour workshop. I can't encourage you enough to participate in this if it calls to you. And again, like, if you don't wanna do it with us, you can do it on your own, but there's something really powerful about the way that getting together activates new possibilities for you and for each other, and then sharing that work together, what we build together, it amplifies the signal for all of us, and that's a really powerful thing to do. This experimentation with this kind of mind movie that I'm working with is just such it's art and it's beautiful and it's inspiring and it's custom fit for your life. I think it's such a gift to offer yourself in the year ahead. And I will say, when I was sharing it with a couple of women that I work with, they were like, I would do this once a quarter. I would do this all the time. And so, yes, this could be a technique that you work with and then you take forward into your life. And worst case, we've spent a little more of our lives being inspired and lit up and feeling good about what's possible. And best case scenario, you really make quantum leaps in terms of what you're stepping into, what you're manifesting in yourself, in the world, in your art, in your life. So I hope you'll join me for that. And otherwise, just recognizing the pacing of this time, having a lot of compassion for yourself and for the nervous system of both the planet and your community as you watch the pace pick up in terms of endings and completion, as you watch the pace pick up in terms of the falling away of things that no longer work. That can be a shock to the system on multiple levels. And so your work in that moment, if you have the safety and the space and the clarity to offer more safety and clarity into the grid, that becomes your responsibility. It's just, I hope I'm putting this into clear enough words, but there's something about the exhale, the spaciousness, the emptiness that wants to birth something, that wants to transform something, that wants to inform something that really, really will behoove you and really, really will serve you in the week ahead. Sending so much love to all of our California family and praying that the world, the community, the individual people there are able to support each other and that we're able to support them as they go through this huge transition, but also becoming aware of the fact that many, many people on this planet are going through significant transitions and honoring that, and also being deeply grateful for the places where you can find rest and solace and community and quiet in your own life. It's not to be taken for granted ever. All right. Sending so much love, and I will talk to you guys soon. And don't forget to respect the mystery this week. It really will serve you well. All right. Take care. Bye.